And yet, even, almost seems like, every quarter, there's a new regimen that's coming out that's showing excitement. And, Monty, just in April of this year, amid all the COVID stuff and everything else we had going on, CheckMate 9ER had a press release showing a positive, progression-free survival and overall survival, benefit to that. And we have, of course, we haven't seen the data, but just first impressions from that press release and what about that, regimen. What's your take on that? Is that going to be a viable option in this frontline space?
Very impressive. My sense was that after Bev-Atezo came out, all the VEGF IO regimens to emerge thereafter would really face an uphill battle, right? I mean, if you're competing against sunitinib, you're going to have more and more patients who get upfront VEGF inhibitor, crossover and get second-line immunotherapy, right? And that would certainly make an overall survival bar even higher, right? So seeing CheckMate 9ER emerge with this impressive signal for overall survival and PFS advantages is just incredible. I can't wait to see the numbers. To a question that you asked earlier, what would sort of follow-up are you going to need to see with some of these studies? Yeah. I have to tell you that really may be a little bit contentious in the context of some of these emerging studies, right? With a regimen like they assessed in CheckMate 9ER with Cabo and Nivo, I can definitely think of places where I'm going to want to use it up front, irrespective of the fact that it doesn't have substantial follow-up or won't have substantial follow-up at the time of initial report. Those patients with bone mets, those patients with aggressive disease that were assessed under the Cabo Sun umbrella, and those are folks that I'd probably want to preferentially treat Cabo Nivo up front.
Yeah. When I look at those, those Kaplan-Meier's overall survival curves, and it doesn't matter if it's, CheckMate 9ER, we haven't seen that one yet, but CheckMate 214 or Keynote, 426. What's impressive is the separation of these curves early on and within the first 12 months. And why that's impressive is remember, these are clinical trial patients. These are patients that met eligibility for clinical trials, reasonably good performance status, intermediate high risk, yes, but were able to go on study. And yet within 12 months, we see 25% of these patients in the sunitinib arms, dying of disease. And it just tells you the sort of the quarter of this population is dead at 12 months, the immediacy of picking our best regimens. And the separation of those curves early on in those first 6 to 12 months really tells you that, for the sickest patients, these regimens are really making a huge impact. And you can talk about whether or not there's crossover and everything. For these patients, there's really not time for crossover. For these patients, making the first best decision is critical because they may not have a second line therapy. We're going to talk about second line therapy in a minute.